Hey, so congratulations for I Am Lisa.
Thank you. Thank you.
So let's start off with the easy question. Why did you want to star as Lisa in this werewolf movie?
Yeah, sure. Well, it's funny because the first time I was ever sent the script by the writer Eric Winkler, I actually passed on the role and sent a bunch of notes and stuff. And the script was just in a place where it just wasn't ready yet. And then a year later, he reached back out with a new version that I read. And a lot of what I did love from the first version was amplified. And the main thing about Lisa that made me really want to play her was just that she's definitely an underdog. She's somebody who feels completely comfortable on her own in her private space, just being like left to herself, and then her world gets invaded, and instead of recoiling like you might expect, or like many of us might react, she steps up to the plate and has more bravery and strength than I think she or anyone else would have imagined. And I think she's just really likable and relatable in a way where, like, we've all dealt with a bully and had fantasies about avenging it, in whatever way possible. So it was fun to kind of play one of those out.
What were some of the notes that you actually gave to Winkler? Because I feel like because I looked at through your filmography, and you tend to do a lot of producing. Is this because of your producing side acted up when you read the script?
Yeah, maybe. I've gotten more into producing recently, but there was definitely parts of when I first read it. My major note, and this was his first screenplay, so there for a first-time writer, it was great. But the main note I had, which I think comes from being a producer, being an actor, watching films, just loving the whole industry, is that he just needed to like trust his audience more. Like, you don't need to feed them every single detail, and a lot of things are scarier or more interesting when left up to the imagination too. So a lot of it was like, I think it was just all the ideas were on the page and they were great and it was amazing, but it was needed to just be fine tuned in a way. And I sort of steered him with what I thought would be more interesting, and things that we didn't need to be told. We could connect the dots. So yeah, it turned out well.
So how did you want to approach Lisa, yourself? Because obviously she's quite a character in a film.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting getting into her headspace. I had a playlist of music that helped me, actually. Eric and I would send music back and forth, and she wears a lot of band t-shirts in the movie too. So there was a lot of like figuring out what her taste was and just kind of getting into her space beforehand and things like that. I also had a list of homework movies to watch because I'm not actually a big viewer of the horror genre, or the werewolf fantastical genre. So I asked them right away. I said to Eric and the director Patrick that I wanted a list of movies that were tonally similar so that I could understand what field we were playing in, and also people that watch our movie are watching all the other movies. So I know that I'm entering a genre that has loyal fan base. So I want to make sure that, like, I'm clued in to all the sort of tropes and things like that, and pacing and style and all that. And so Ginger Snaps was one that I watched. There's a bunch of them. There's a whole list, but watching films, listening to music, and then just when I got to the day, it was just channeling whichever parts of myself she was expressing, because obviously I can relate to her a lot. I have moments where I just would pull myself into my beanie and not talk to anybody, and then I've got moments where there's some fire. So yeah.
So after doing all this research with all these werewolves movies, what do you learn about this type of fictional monster?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, our werewolf, our transformation doesn't even go that far, if you will. Like, I won't spoil anything, but I've even read since the films come out a couple of reviews or things where they're just commenting on the fact that she doesn't really ever get to like a full unrecognizable place. So that was something that was interesting for me to compare to other films, some that do, some that don't. Because that would have been something extra to step into. And I settled on our choice not to, in that, like, Lisa grapples the whole time with losing herself, fearing where she's going, where she's where what she's capable of. Her transition is gradual, so she's constantly wondering what's next and how far this is going to go on and how long. And so so keeping her at the end point as still someone that is recognizable as Lisa was important to us, I think, because she has not lost herself. For a minute, she feels like she has, and like she's lost everything and they've taken everything. And I think it's important for her never to truly get to a place of completely like lost who she was before this. But a lot of the films do that. And so it was fun to like watch that alternative and see what that looks like. But there's a fine line of like campiness and taking it seriously, which I had to figure out with this genre, and certain films toe the line on either side, you know.
Now you mentioned before you're not a horror aficionado. So why did you want to get into this type of genre? What typically do you do?
Well, I most typically do, I would say just pretty straight drama. Family dramas I really love, very subtle, like nuanced realism is kind of my bread and butter. And I also do like rom-coms and things that are a little more light. So this was a fun in between. And it was a new adventure for me. It was something that was exciting and outside of my comfort zone. And there was like a physical element to Lisa that I was certainly playing with for the first time. And it was fun to kind of have that physical ability, even if it's, you know, fake or fantastical or whatever. But it was a fun in between of like, it's a very serious, scary thing that's happening to her. But also, what if something like that happened to you and then suddenly you had powers that you could like combat it with? So I was just intrigued by the premise, and I thought that she was just such a wonderfully likable character. I mean, you root for her so hard. We've all been that person. And then for her to come out on top is just, I mean, I wanted to embody that. I wanted to play out that storyline.
So talk about the physical strains of acting when you were, I want to say when you were on the floor, whether it's on the forest or the police station, you know, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
I mean, that was something different for you.
Sure. And that scene in the police office, I mean, without, you know, totally spoiling it, but it's, you know, traumatic. So it's, I remember when we were filming it and crew members who weren't in the room because they just weren't needed in the exact room were like, I can't listen to this. You know, I mean, I'm like screaming and crying and I felt so bad because they're like, I don't want to hear this. But yeah, that's intense. And the scene in the forest is one specifically where it got edited a lot between the first version I read and the second that we made. I mean, I'm sure there were drafts in between that, but you know what I mean? Which I'm sure you can tell, like it's always scarier when you don't know exactly what happened. And then that's the point too, is that Lisa wakes up not knowing what happened. So if you don't also, it kind of puts you in her shoes as a viewer. So those scenes were intense, and I certainly just had to kind of like stay in the zone while we were filming them. It certainly wasn't one where I was cracking jokes in between takes, but that's normal and expected. And I'm one of the actors that just kind of goes around on the beginning of the day and is like, I'm going to be in the zone today. I'm not mad at you. I'm not angry. You don't need to like check in. I'm just going to be mellow. So yeah.
Everyone knows this is a werewolf movie, obviously.
Yeah.
So when someone tunes into a werewolf movie, what they want to do is to see a transformation or a werewolf. So talk about the makeup, the yellow contacts you had to wear, the long fingernails that looks like a woman went through a 6-month pandemic. You know, talk about all that.
Totally. Well, I have to tell you, I was really scared for those contacts before we started because I don't wear glasses, I don't wear contacts, and I'm even bad with eye drops. Like I told my makeup artist, I said, you are going to have to pry my eyes open because I will shut by accident. Like I will, it will not be easy for you to get these into my eyes. And I had to go, I live in LA and we filmed the movie in Kansas City. So I had to go to a local eye doctor here in LA and I had to go get fitted for the contacts because they had to cover my entire eye while still showing a little bit of white. You know, there was an exact look that they wanted. So I had to try some on and some were too big and some were too small. And the big ones were painful and I was just so scared. And I was like really worried that I just wasn't going to be able to get them in or that they were going to hurt or something like that. But it was all fine. By the time we were like 4 days in, we were getting pretty quick at applying all of it. But it was a tag team. One makeup artist would hold my eye and the other one would put them in because we had a special effects makeup and standard makeup. But we got good at it. We got good at applying it all by the end of the day and the end of the week. And then I have to say, when you put on makeup that dramatic, it does half your job for you. I mean, you look in the mirror, you don't recognize yourself. You look like a monster. You just kind of feel powerful. And, it just like comes out of you. And it's like so it really worked out well. And I was grateful for it. And I think it looked really cool.
Yeah, I've been told women have an easier time putting on like fake contacts because they put on makeup all the time and they have to do all this stuff near their eyes. But that's pretty cool, especially the fact that you don't even wear glasses and your character technically kind of wear glasses.
yeah, for a little while. yeah, that was fun too because even that it wasn't a full transformation like the special effects were, but even something as simple as glasses, it does help as an actor, for me at least, to just have something that distances you from your character, to look in a mirror even without the effects, like I said, and just be like, oh, this isn't Kristen, this is Lisa. It's helpful. I even have rings that I wear every day, daily, and I don't wear them when I'm playing any characters just because I like that immediate kind of like look down and, oh, this isn't me. So little things like that actually help.
So you mentioned that this was filmed out in a rural area of Kansas City?
Yeah, we filmed it in and around the city. I think all the locations were probably under 30 to 40 minutes from like the central downtown plaza area. But it was really fun to shoot it locally like that. Me and the cinematographer were the only people who were flown in. So everybody else was local. And we premiered it actually at a local drive-in not too long ago, which was really fun because you could kind of hear the crowd like oohing and ahhing when they were seeing like a restaurant they go to or a park they go to or a street they drive down, or a venue. And so it was fun to kind of hear like all the local, excitement around that too. But yeah, in and around the city, Kansas City, Missouri.
I'm curious about this. It's because drive-ins are making a comeback this year for obvious reasons, and as an actress, you've seen yourself probably on your computer. You've seen yourself probably in a theater. But what's the experience like to see yourself on a huge screen in the parking lot?
Yeah, it's something. Let me tell you, it's bigger than I ever needed to see my own face. I mean, it's a lot. But it was really, really lovely. I was impressed with how good the sound quality was. I was impressed with how well we could see it. So when you got all those things, you're good to go. And like I said, the crowd was big. I mean, I was impressed with our turnout. They said we had more cars than the screening of the Avengers the week before. So I'll take it. But yeah, it was really fun. You could kind of hear the engagement, the honking, the flashing lights at the end, for people to cheer along. And it's such a good drive-in movie. I mean, it's made for it. So whether it was because of the pandemic that's how we premiered, or whether we might have done it regardless, I think it was a blessing in disguise because it was such an amazing night. And I know they're going to try to get it in more drive-ins now that theaters are not open. I'm glad drive-ins are having a comeback because it was awesome. It was so much fun. I was like, why haven't I been seeing movies like this all the time? But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot to see my face that big. You are right.
Now you mentioned it was a local cast. How was it working with everybody, and what was your favorite kill?
Yeah, it was really fun working with everyone. They were so great, and it was nice because everyone else was comfortable with each other and had even worked with each other in the past and things like that. And so I came in and just felt immediately like family. I felt comfortable with all the actors. Obviously, my character does not get along with many of theirs, but we behind the scenes all did, and everybody was such a pro, especially Manon Halliburton, who plays Deb Huckins, basically my mortal enemy. She and I just had so much trust with each other that, while what we're doing on screen is very edgy and difficult, we were always very comfortable and in the zone together. So it was really nice working with everybody. They were so sweet. I have like a Kansas City family now. Eric and his family are like my local parents whenever I go back. And my favorite kill was, that's such a good question. I have to say it was probably when I killed Chris Bilsma. He plays like the male officer, and I don't want to spoil how it happens, but it happens on a playground, which is just like cool and fun. And the special effects there just look awesome. I think they're terrific, and it was really fun.
So for you personally, how did you get into acting? How did you get that acting bug for you?
Yeah, I've had it since I was really, really young. I think when I was, younger than 8, my parents just signed me up for all the things, all the sports, and I didn't really take to any of them. And then they signed me up for local theater, and that really clicked. I did Hansel and Gretel was the first play I ever did. I was Gretel, and I just loved it, whether it was the attention or the like just feeling of comfort and make believe. I just never wanted to grow out of playing make believe, truly. I like to empathize with people and figure out how they feel, and then take it one step further and kind of step into it and portray it and tell stories. And so I just never wanted to give it up. When it was time to go to college, I decided to go to school for it. I went to NYU Tisch, which was amazing living in New York. And then I moved to LA and just, decided if you don't give up on it, then it'll happen one way or another. So, but yeah, had it for a while.
So now you're some of your recent projects are taking you on the other side of the camera lens, in producing.
Mm-hmm.
Is there down the road by chance you'll be directing, hopefully directing a feature film yourself one day?
I would love to direct a feature film one day. I think that that's totally a goal of mine. And it's something that I got into producing because I was on so many sets as an actor, just wishing I had that extra level of say and of authority and of collaboration. I just wanted to have creative input on levels above just, my scenes and my work. And I want to create a lot of my own. And I'm actually working on some new films with Eric and Patrick. So it's fun that when you meet people you work well with, you can sort of make things of your own going forward. But yeah, directing would certainly be something I'd be interested in. I think that I would be really great at directing actors and story, and just need to get a little better at directing my cinematographer and planning my shots. And as soon as I have a better grip on that, I think it's definitely in my future.
Excellent. Well, let me wrap it up with one more question. I know you partially answered it, but we're talking via Zoom right now, and we're living in crazy times. But how are you staying sane and creative during times like this?
Yeah, it's a great question. It's been ups and downs. Every day is different, as it always is in this industry, but especially now. I think writing, I've leaned into writing a lot, and just knowing that if there aren't as many auditions out there and there aren't as many opportunities or even things that are able to go ahead. I have a few projects that are just kind of on hold. We're ready to go whenever it's safe to. So a lot of what I've been doing has been reading, writing my own material, and watching good material. There's still so much out there. I haven't seen some of the classics. There's so much new stuff. So a lot of that, and getting ready, and then getting ready for things that are on my horizon that I already have planned. I'm entering sort of the research phase for them, as I mentioned with Lisa. So yeah, just staying busy and connecting with friends and being present and not judging myself for any anxieties, because we're all going through it these days.
Absolutely. Well, hey,
Yeah.
once again, congratulations for I Am Lisa. You did a terrific job on being a lead actress and playing a monstrous creature in the
Yeah.
film too.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. Next time, Lee.
All right. Talk to you soon.
Bye now.